I'm Roger.
And I'm Adam.
And welcome to another episode of RC Street Shop's Product of the Week. No words to describe how awesome this is.
So what are we talking about today?
Today we're talking about the Traxxas X-Maxx. Now the X-Maxx is the newest product from Traxxas, and it's kind of a big deal because Traxxas doesn't come out with new products all that often. So this thing is all new from the ground up, and it is fantastic. I've got the biggest nerd crush on this thing that I think I've had on any RC product since, for a while, since the Savage XS.
Yeah, no, this is it's definitely huge. It's from the ground up, just redesigned. Most folks out of the box are like, how big is it? And they haven't given an exact scale, but it's close to 1/5.
Yeah, this is essentially a small fifth scale truck, and it shows. I mean, it's big. We have some of the other fifth scales in the shop, like the Red Cat, and this is almost exactly the same size as the Red Cat Rampage. It's a little bit shorter than some of the fifth scales, like the Low Seas and whatnot, but it is a very, very big truck. Just to show you, give you an idea, here is a Stampede, and the Stampede looks just tiny compared to it. I mean, and it's not just the physical size, it's the size of the tires and the arms and everything else on the Stampede. This thing is just massive in every respect.
So a lot of technology in this, a lot of sort of new things they're squeezing into it. So let's start with the basics.
Right.
What kind of motor? What kind of speed controller? Is this electric? Is it gas?
This is an electric. This is an electric truck. The standard VXL 6S speed control, 1600 kV, big brushless motor. This is a larger motor than the 8-scale cars use. And it's big. There's a heatsink on it. This thing is massive. It's almost fist size. Next on it, it's got the standard 2.4 gig Traxxas radio. Yeah. They give you the high-end radio that has the Bluetooth on it out of the box. Just the kind of stuff you're going to expect, because this is not a cheap truck. This truck is bordering on $800. So they're giving you, it's probably the most expensive Traxxas product other than the X01. Actually, X01 isn't even this expensive anymore.
No, yeah, it's been up for a while too. So.
Something of note, this does not come with batteries.
No.
You need to buy batteries, just like the X01. This does not come with batteries, so you need to put lipos in it when you buy it. So don't forget about that.
Yeah, don't try and put nickel metal in here, because then it'll be like a Tonka truck.
Right. Traxxas recommends 6S power. They don't, not like the Revo where they sit there and they say, well, you can run it on 4S, you can run it on 6S. They say this is a 6S truck. So, and in the Traxxas videos on their website, they show the 8600 3-cell batteries going in it. So this truck has deep battery compartments. Yeah. So you can put a lot of battery in this.
Let's see, 4-wheel drive, obviously. I mean,
shaft driven.
Yeah,
it's pretty standard monster truck fare.
And then basically where things, it starts right away with the lid. So they've done a lot of things different, and we were talking before the video. I'm wondering if a lot of these ideas are going to be
trickle into other products.
Trickling down to their other products. But this is a clipless body, so that's cool.
Say goodbye to body clips.
Look at that. That's nice. Just simple, easy, and voila. This chassis is brand new, completely redesigned, and I see a lot of triangle shapes in here. And you were explaining to me that's important for structure.
When it comes to structures, triangles are the strongest structure, so they've triangulated everything. What that means is they basically kind of connected a bunch of different triangles together to make the chassis as rigid as possible. Now, where the rigidity pays off is it comes into things like tons of power, handling-wise, jumping it. So when you jump this thing and it lands, the suspension is going to be able to do the job it's supposed to. You're not going to have to worry about the chassis getting wonky and flexing and taking up some of the spring rate. This thing is super rigid. I mean, you can take it. I mean, that is me pulling on this thing as hard as I can, and it is barely budging.
Yeah.
This is a very rigid truck, and that's also going to help you out when it comes to things like pinion gears and spur gears and things like that, because on a lot of trucks you get chassis flex and you change the gear mesh and you strip the spur gear. That's not going to happen with this truck. Also, another one of the neat innovations on this is the motor mounting style.
Well, yes, there's a lot of info on this about how again, taking flex out of this whole equation is like everything they're doing. That there's a whole new motor mount. Now, what was different about
This uses pins to hold the motor and spur gear in place. So essentially it pins into place, and what that does is it gives you a more rigid way to mount the motor. It also allows it to not to slip. Something that's really common on a lot of RC cars, regardless of the brand, is you take a hard hit into something, you'll hit it so hard the motor will slip. You won't realize that, and then what will happen is it'll move out or in, and then you'll run it for 5 more minutes, it'll strip the spur gear. And people bring us cars all the time. I don't know what happened, I hit a curb at 20 miles an hour, and then my spur gear is stripped. And it's because most of the time we'll find the gears will be smashed together, because no matter how you tighten it, the motor can still slip under a really, really severe impact. And that eliminates this here. Plus, if you're going to use something that's going to have 1 or 2 bolts holding it in, there's still some flex in there and things can move. Rigidity is a big theme with the X-Maxx.
So let's see, clipless body, easy battery access. So I thought these were very, very cool.
Super cool.
Well, there we go. Just kind of clip out and flip out.
This is, it's so neat they've done that, because they've eliminated, there are no body clips on this truck anywhere. No requirements for body clips anywhere. It's cool. The lack of body mounts is just, I think that's, hopefully, if you manufacturers are listening, this is the future of RC. Just eliminating body clips completely, because, this thing's one in your battery, and it's solid. The way it attaches and clips in is solid too.
These shocks are huge.
They are.
Look at those. Those things are ginormous.
This is the new GTR shock from Traxxas. It's like Adam said, they are enormous. These shocks have got to be probably 4 inches, just the body alone, and probably 6 inches, the entire shock. Once it's raised up to the end of the travel. Everything about this truck is massive.
So, let's see, what else did they do? The way this is designed, it's basically, it's a shock absorption zone in here.
Right.
The other thing I thought was neat was they thought about how, you've talked about how, we're going to talk about how modular that is, and it sits level.
Right. They intentionally made the shock mounts, set the shock mounts up so when you flip the truck over, it'll sit level and you can work on it this way. And that's really cool, because there is some stuff you need to access from the bottom. And I can't tell you how many trucks I've worked on. When you try and flip them over and they immediately roll back onto one of the tires, they don't want to go together.
Also, you want to talk a little bit about the modular design of those?
Right. This truck is 3 pieces, essentially. You've got the center piece here, which is the chassis. You've got the front and rear ends. Now, Traxxas designed it so this whole setup will attach and stay in place without being screwed together. Now, that doesn't mean it's not screwed together, but they set it up so it's rigid enough and everything slides together solidly enough to where you could not put screws in it and things aren't going to fly out. So basically, everything's kind of on rails, slides in, and then you have the skid plates here, which help bolt everything together. And underneath the skid plates, there's even more beefy stuff.
It's almost like layers of an onion.
Yeah, this thing really is. This truck is really built in layers, because you have skid plate, and you have another piece underneath that, and you have another piece under that. It's impressive. They really went overboard on this thing. And another neat thing about it is they really, really sweat the details on this truck. It's one of the places I was most impressed with this is when you start getting into the truck, Traxxas spent a lot of time on little things. And that's what's neat is they've got double shear joints. The axles are splined, where they go under the...
what does that mean?
So, essentially, most of the axles where you put not the hub, but the drive hex. When the drive hex slides onto the axle, everybody does it where you have a pin, single pin, and then there's a female part for the pin on the hex. The hex slides over the pin, and that's how you get drive.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Well, that puts a lot of stress on everything, because you have that one single pin.
And it's taking the stress of all
right, and as a lot of you Yeti XL owners understand, that single pin design stinks because you're constantly breaking pins or breaking hexes when you're in really, really heavy-duty situations. So what Traxxas has done on this, and we should be able to show you a picture of this once you get this thing apart.
Yeah.
There are splines. Basically, it's got 15, 20 splines on the outside of the drive shaft. The hex slides onto those splines. And then there's a clip that comes in and clips the hex into place.
Okay.
And what that means is that now you've got a bunch of splines that are all working together to keep this from stripping it out.
Okay.
And to keep something from breaking. And that adds an insane amount of strength. And I have not seen anyone else that does that, especially on a monster truck. So it's these little things like that that make this truck extremely impressive. And it's not, I mean, people poo-poo, oh, it's a Traxxas truck. Oh, Traxxas this, Traxxas that. This truck is really well engineered. And I'd say this is engineered as well as any Kyosho or Tamiya product out there. They really sweated the details on this, which is impressive.
Well, was there any other sort of, while we're in here and we're doing close-ups and taking things?
What's another neat thing is on the front end, you have a C-hub setup, which is pretty standard. One of the annoying things about C-hub setups is usually you've got a bushing on the top and bottom. Mm-hmm. Then screws go through the bushing to connect the steering knuckle into the C-hub. So those screws tend to always come out because you get the knuckle turning and it's slowly working the screw loose.
Yeah. What
Traxxas did is they slid a pin through it and they have a cap that acts as a bushing on the top and bottom of it and a screw that holds that cap on. So yes, you still have screws holding the setup on, but the screws are holding the cap and the screws aren't being twisted on by the steering knuckle. So that's another cool way to re-engineer the C-hub design to keep it from falling apart on you all the time.
Interesting.
So a lot of neat features. Like I mentioned before, a lot of the stress points on the truck are in double shear. And what double shear means is they've loaded the pin in two places. Like on the Stampede we just showed you and a lot of other two-wheel drive Traxxas cars and even the 4x4s, they do what's called a single shear. You have a rod it's attached at one point, so all the stress is concentrated on one point.
Yeah.
When you do a double shear setup, you have 2 points on the same rod, and it spreads out the impact. So this is now dealing with half the amount of stress on one spot than the single shear is. That makes it twice as strong as far as shearing. And shearing is when you just cut something.
Yeah.
So all the double shear loads on this, it's in the steering, it's in the suspension, it's in a lot of spots, a lot of really smart engineering on this. And another thing that no one thinks about with this truck, it's extremely light for its size.
Yeah, this is true.
And weight is your enemy when you break stuff.
Yeah.
When you guys take your T-Max and you put 45 pounds with aluminum on it,
yeah,
and you bump into a curb at idle speeds and shear a pin, it's because you put so much more weight on the truck that weight adds to the momentum, the inertia, and that snap stuff. This truck is very light for its size. So when you do hit something, you're going to have way less inertia and way less load on the components.
Let's see. What else is there to mention about this? It's fully waterproof. That's their claim.
Yep.
They're not saying water resistant. They're saying waterproof.
Traxxas is saying when you take this thing in the mud and get it all dirty, just hose it off and you're done.
Yeah.
And that's another cool thing. Another feature about this is it's all plastic. There's no metal on this. And that eliminates rust problems.
Well, no, there is.
A little bit. Yeah, the drive shafts are metal, springs are metal, but
yeah.
You know, there's
the chassis is
right. It's all plastic, so it's like with some of the other fish scales, they're all they're aluminum and steel, so they're going to rust if you.
I think that's the basics of this. I mean, we have not, unfortunately, had the pleasure of being able to run this. We did have a customer buy one, but we didn't get a chance to play with it.
Right. He tends to, he runs this stuff a lot, but he's a truck driver, so he's never home.
Yeah.
So he takes his X-Maxx with him out on the road and plays with it there.
Interesting.
And he hasn't been in a while, so we haven't had to talk to him. I haven't had a chance to talk to him about his truck yet. But
so obviously, this is a big investment if someone's going to buy it. They're probably going to want to see it in person. Where can they do that?
RC Street Shop, 5521 East Spring Street, Long Beach, California, 90808.
He even gave you a zip code. Punch that into your GPS.
That's how excited I am about this.
Now, if folks are geographically challenged and they can't make their way to our store physically, is there a way perhaps they could send their voice through technology to us?
You know, I gave you the zip code, so you have no excuse not to come here. I don't care where you are.
Yeah.
But if you're lazy and you don't want to come here from New York or Montana, 562-425-9000 is our phone number. Give us a call and we will we'll ask you where you are. Not if you haven't bought one of these yet.
Yeah, exactly. Let's see, we are also doing the social media thing. We are on Twitter, RC Street Shop, all one word. We're also on Facebook, so if that's your particular cup of tea, you can check us out there. We post content and, inform you when new stuff comes in the shop and when we accidentally have to close early and, all that fun stuff. So we keep up on us there. It's just RC Street Shop. And of course, we have a YouTube channel. We're obviously trying the video content thing. You're watching this video. So be sure to like the video, but more importantly, please subscribe! Hit the subscribe button. We would appreciate it. Tell your friends, let folks know we're doing this, and we'll see you next week.